Stan the Man Lee. What an inspirational figure he turned out to be. Stan Lee was one of those people, or is one of those people, that has inspired millions of people through the works of his writing and his characters. He truly has had a voice in the entertainment industry in terms of the movies that he is an executive producer on, and also the comics for which they are inspired by. I personally have never met Stan Lee, and I would have loved to have had a sit-down conversation with him, or at least had a coffee with the guy. He is responsible for some of the best characters of all time. The X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Black Panther, tons of different characters. But one of my favorites, and as I've said before on this channel, has been Spider-Man. Spider-Man, for me, was that pivotal movie that got me into filmmaking. I was 4 at the time when I saw the trailer for the first movie. And because I wasn't old enough, I wasn't allowed to go see it in the theaters. But when it came out on VHS a couple years later, I found myself actually watching it. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the character. And one of my favorite aspects of the current MCU has been the Stan Lee cameo. And it's sad to see that we are now living in an age where we'll probably never see a physical sort of cameo by Stan Lee anymore. I mean, sure, we could have like a little poster here or a little word over there that's like a in reference to Stan Lee. Like if someone's reading a book and they found the word Excelsior in it. That would be something. But Stan Lee brought a lot of charisma to those cameos that really added something to the MCU for me. And it's sad to see, again, such an iconic person go away. But the saddest part to me is that I think we saw it coming from a mile away. When I first heard that Stan Lee was, when I heard Stan Lee had some complications with pneumonia and he had to be rushed to the hospital this year, I thought he was going to die then, but I knew it was coming because he was getting pretty up there in the age. And while it would have been nice to have him stay for a year longer, I'm really glad that he had spent time with his fans, with people who loved him, with his comic book creations that he made that has inspired millions of people. And truly, the work of Stan Lee will go on and inspire many people. And currently, there are tons of people that, that are inspired by the guy. And his work did pay off. And it just goes to show you how effective art can be. It's not as, it's not as disconnected as film is. Comic books are essentially like books, but you get to see the characters. And you form that connection with these characters when you write characters that are relatable. Looking back at Peter Parker, he's one of the most relatable people I've ever met. A guy who's bullied, but goes out of their way to protect the very people that bully him. A person who has virtue. A person who is brave enough to stand for his bullies. And, Stan Lee was one of the main people that is an inspiration in the pop culture world. I said to a friend back in April, wouldn't it be sad that during the 10th anniversary of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Stan Lee passes away. And given the events of Infinity War, in real life, he got snapped right out of existence. And I don't think we should take this day to mourn the loss of a person. We should celebrate the fact that he has inspired so many people. And his work inspired people like Kevin Feige to go out and make the very films that he made famous. And so from everyone here at Spirit-Man Studios to all the people that are affected, especially the immediate family of Stan Lee, our thoughts go out to you. Stan Lee was an incredible person in pop culture history, and he shall remain that way. He is one of the most recognizable people in comic books, and he was one of the most treasured figures of pop culture. And I'll leave you guys off with the one word that Stan Lee always says: Excelsior.